Hello everyone and welcome to 100 Days in Roblox Islands. This is something I wanted to do for a long time and I'm finally able to do it now. This video was obviously inspired by Luke the Notable's Minecraft Hardcore series, so the playlist for that series and his channel will be at the top of the description. Now let's get into the rules. I know Islands has a day and night cycle, but I looked all over the internet to find out how long they lasted, but I didn't find anything. Also, the day and night cycle only happens on your own island, which sort of makes it useless, so I decided to count a day in Roblox Islands as 10 minutes, which I thought was a round number which would work. Also, dying is no danger, I'm not playing hardcore. I will also do the challenge on an alt account. I wanted to do it on my main account, but when I resetted my island, my skills and items wouldn't reset, so that is sad. So with the rules set, let's get into it. Day 1 I spawned on a new island I'd never seen before. They must have updated it. I mostly followed the tutorial which showed the basics of the game. I cut trees, placed blocks, farmed, made a pickaxe, mined, and placed down a workbench. My goal after finishing the tutorial would be to get stone tools, which I did by mining and chopping down trees. And the goal I would set for myself for the next few days would be to make a workbench tier 2. Day 2 I continued with my quest by making a campfire to smelt iron. For the workbench I would need 50 iron, which is a lot for a beginner player. If I was going to smelt that much iron and make it so that it didn't take forever, I decided that I needed to make a small furnace, though I needed 10 iron for them. While waiting for my iron to smelt, I mostly chopped down trees and replanted my crops. And after I had crafted my furnace, I realized I had almost no iron, so for the rest of the day I mined iron in the hub. Day 3 I had gotten all the iron I needed and I began smelting. I realized I didn't want to spend a ton of time waiting for this to smelt, so I crafted 3 more furnaces throughout the day, which would speed up the process and would also be helpful long term. So at the end of the day I had enough iron, but not enough stone, so I mined some. In day 4 I had all the resources I needed, so I crafted a tier 2 workbench. And with that, I thought to myself at the time that I could now make an iron pickaxe, but no! You need an anvil for that, which I didn't have at the time, so I was just confused. But I continued to sell berries, wheat, and apples, and when I got enough money, I was able to purchase a potato seed. Because I decided to skip tomato, I also built a tiny farm which I could make money from and later expand upon. Day 5 I finished my tiny farm and I moved my wheat to there. Throughout the rest of the day I harvested my farms over and over, and I also began fishing, which made me way less money than I expected. On day 6, I advanced from farming and fishing to fighting slime. I wanted a unique way to make money, so I decided to do that. I mostly fought slimes throughout the rest of the day, with me also visiting my island to clear my farm sometimes. In addition, I had made a private server so that load times were faster and so that I could fight slimes alone. On day 7, I bought more potato seeds with the money I had earned, which also made it so that I expanded the wheat portion of my farm since I had too many wheat seeds. And I also began making a tree farm, which, when I look back at it, it wasn't that efficient. On day 8, I continued to build a tree farm, and it ended up being a 2x3, which I would later expand upon into a 3x3. The rest of the day, I mostly fought slimes, sold crops, and mined. On day 9, I began smelting the iron I got on day 8 so that I could make an anvil, which would give me access to many new tools. So after a bit of waiting, I got my hands on an anvil. I also had to mine more iron so that I could afford the tools. And at the end of the day, I crafted an iron pickaxe and an iron axe. On day 10, I continued to sell crops, as well as me being able to expand the potato section of the farm since I gotten so many seeds by selling and buying. And for the rest of the day, I fought slimes. On day 11, I mostly just finished building my wood farm and made it a 3x3, but I also purchased birch saplings, which I wanted to have a dedicated section of the farm to. On day 12, I did just that. I built a big birch portion of the farm, but I still only had 2 saplings, even though there were 9 spots. It's fine, I'll get them later. On day 13, I realized I had gotten so many seeds that I decided to split the farm into 2, with one section dedicated to wheat and another to potato. In addition, I actually bought carrot seeds, which was also a unique section. On day 14, I killed more slime so that I could get the combat level 7, which unlocked the Buffalo Core Island, and wow, the island had changed a lot since when I played the game. There was a gigantic mine this time compared to the tiny old one, so for the rest of the day I mined a ton of iron and gold. For the entirety of day 15, I collected and sold crops so that I could make money, and I chopped wood while waiting so I could get a ton of that. Day 16, I mined a lot of resources as I needed to craft some sawmills for a base I had planned, but I later figured out a concept which would work much better than the one I had in mind. So throughout the day, I smelted iron, which made me able to craft 3 sawmills. Day 17, I bought a wheat totem, which I wanted to make a non-industrial farm with, and yes, I realized how stupid I was. I also continued to cut wood with the sawmills I had made through the rest of the day. Day 18, I built my wheat farm, and it sucks. It's so inefficient, so I regret building it. That was the only worthwhile thing I did that day. Day 19, I fought slimes, and I built a second wheat totem. Why? What was I thinking? This double as efficient now, but I still get barely any wheat, as well as the fact that the wheat is very inefficient and doesn't give me much money. Don't worry, I'll make better farms later on. On day 20, I had an actual idea for a base. I slept between this day and day 19, so I had a little brainstorming to figure out a base. What I decided to do was sort of a small American town with mostly single floor buildings and not very tall buildings like in cities. Each of the houses would have a farm of sort or something useful, and the house's blocks would be themed around that. Where you spawn would be a small park or patch of grass, and the city would be surrounded by a forest, which would be my tree farm. I started building by simply placing a patch of grass, which would be where I'd spawn on the island from now. I also wanted to find a way to get stuff easier, so I wanted to check out some shops. So I joined another player's island, and I found something that interested me. I had about 400 wood planks, and I could get 80 coins per. What a steal! But then I figured out I needed level 25 economy, which I did not know at first, and I wasn't close to having it all, so I couldn't shop yet. Day 21, I began on my quest to get a workbench tier 3. I need 350 smelted iron, which is insane by the way, so I decided to begin mining in the hub. I realized this was very slow, so I decided to go mine in the Buffalo Islands, so that's what I did for the rest of the day. Day 22, I finished my mining, as well as getting extra iron since I needed more furnaces, so for the rest of day 22, I smelted. Day 23, I accumulated 6 furnaces, and when I got the iron I realized I actually needed 450 iron, so I went to the hub to mine more. Day 24, I finished the smelting, and now I had 450 iron. I also needed 20 maple wood, so I went to the hub and bought a sapling. And when I got all the wood I needed, I saw I also needed 50 stone bricks, which you could only get through a stone cutter, which cost 40 iron to make. So I had to go to the hub again and mine more. And at the end of the day, I was able to make a stone cutter. Through the entirety of day 25, I used the stone cutter and just took so long. But at the end of the day, I had the 50 I needed. So finally, on the start of day 26, I crafted a workbench tier 3. After unlocking it, I fought slime and I got a recipe for an iron war axe, which would be my next goal, but I needed a steel rod, which I forgot how to make, so I just put an iron totem on my patch of grass so that I could get more iron easily. On day 27, I figured out how to get steel, which was by making a steel mill, which I needed the gold for, so on this day I mined and smelted, and at the end of the day I was able to craft a steel mill. On day 28, I attempted to use the steel mill, but I didn't get it at first, but I later realized I had to put iron ingots into the steel mill, so I began smelting. I needed 25 steel ingots to make a rod, so I had to wait for a while. On day 29, I got all the steel I needed, but I also needed some iron, so after getting all of it, I was able to make an iron war axe. I tried out on some slimes, and it was awesome. On day 30, I had convinced myself something. The fact that if I want to get somewhere, I needed to make an industrial smelter, and since I didn't have enough economy, I needed to grind for pink sticky gears. So I started to grind today, and I got none of course. Day 31 I continued to grind, and I might as well tell you the odds of getting a pink sticky gear. I need 3 pink sticky gears, which can be dropped by pink slime, which has a 5% chance of spawning, and there's a 10% for a pink slime to drop pink sticky gear. So the odds are not in my favor. So of course, I did not get any pink sticky gears on day 31. On day 32, I was starting to get a bit demotivated. Maybe this is just a waste of time, and when my mood was down, I found my first pink sticky gear. This motivated me, which made me pumped to continue. On day 33, I continued to grind and I got my second gear. I only need 1 left, so I was thinking this wouldn't take too long, so I continued to grind. Day 34, I was still grinding, but I didn't get any. But it's fine, I'll get a pink sticky soon now that I'm so lucky. Day 35, I sold my slime balls, which gave me 8,000 coins. The reason I did this was mostly because I needed economy XP, so that I can maybe buy pink sticky gears off the community. I didn't get any gears that day. Day 36, I grinded and I didn't get any pink sticky gears. Day 37, I grinded and I didn't get any, so I decided to farm and sell for economy XP. Day 30, I grinded and I didn't get any, so I continued to sell and I finally got economy 25. So I began visiting islands. I first went to a shop and then I realized that skyblock shops are very disorganized. So I didn't find any pink sticky gears anywhere. I visited 2 more islands that day, and it was at that moment I realized that people do not want to sell their pink sticky gears. They're too valuable. They only want to buy them. Day 39, I continued to look through other people's shops, but no pink sticky gears for sale were to be found, only people who were buying them. So I decided I needed to continue to grind if I wanted to get any at all. Day 40, I grinded for pink stickies and I found none. I might as well also mention that often when I grind, I go home to sell my regrown crops so I can make some money while doing this. Day 41, I grinded and found nothing. Day 42, I grinded and found nothing. Seriously, while doing this, I had to take several breaks since this was so boring. So I can just skip over these long sections of just grinding. I also should just mention that the explanations have been becoming much shorter due to the fact that I don't really do anything interesting on these days. I just grind for 10 minutes straight. And it's like really boring and there's nothing really special that happens unless I get a pink sticky gear, so there's not much to say. Day 43, something interesting happened. Neat! I went home to sell crops and a copper island spawned. I didn't have a drill, so I just let it be. Through the rest of the day, I stayed at my base and another island spawned. I'm pretty lucky, but not lucky for the gosh darn pink sticky gear, but because I was bored from grinding, I decided I wanted to continue with my base. I wanted to basically just begin on getting stone, which would be the roads, as well as stone bricks, which would be used for some of the buildings. But this will take forever, because I would need an industrial stone cutter, which I would have only been able to make if I had an industrial smelter, which is what I've been grinding for. But I got some stone bricks anyway. Day 44's footage recorded Lucky HD's Discord server for some reason, but I don't remember what I did that day. Day 45, I was still grinding, and that was probably what I did on the previous day as well. And also the Spirit Island update had happened between day 44 and day 45, so I'll check it out later. Day 46, I was still grinding and I found absolutely nothing. Day 47, I found nothing now, and I realized I got the first 2 pink sticky gears in the span of 20 minutes. And now spent just hours to get the last one. Wow, that's very unlucky. Day 48, I grinded, I found 0 pink stickies. Day 49, I was still grinding, and now that we're almost at the halfway point of this challenge, I decided to do something different on the next day. So on day 50, now we're halfway, I visited the Spirit Island. I found out how it worked after watching several YouTube videos while grinding in the background, so I got the hang of it quickly. On this day, I was able to get the orange and red spirit quests, and with the spirits I'd earned, I bought 2 spirit saplings. On day 51, I went back to grinding, and sadly, I got absolutely no pig stickies that day. But finally, after an accumulated 19 skyblock days and over 3 hours in real time, on day 52, I finally got the 3rd pink sticky gear. All the hard work paid off. If I wanted an industrial smelter, I needed 8 steel rods, so I went to a shop, but I figured, hey, I'm broke, so I decided to do the grinding myself. So after going through 3 hours of sitting in front of my computer screen and being bored out of my mind, nothing could be worse. So on day 53, I figured I needed 200 steel rods, so I had to begin smelting iron ore to get the ingots I needed. On that day, I also made the platform where I would have my base a bit higher so that it went above my tree farm. So on day 54, I gotten all the iron ingots I needed, so I began smelting in the steel mill, which was so slow since I didn't decide to get an output chest for some reason. Day 55, I was 4th of the way there. This is going to take a while. I also try to be a bit productive while waiting. What I do is mostly just collect crops and break spirit trees, since I can sell those to other people for a lot of money. Day 56, I had attained a total of 86 steel bars. oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. Day 57, I was still waiting, and now I had 113 steel bars. Day 58, I had gotten 128 steel bars, and if you wonder what happened, a bunch of my steel bars despawned, so I had to mine more iron in the hub, so that's why I didn't get that much that day. Day 59, I had 156 steel ingots, almost there, so finally, after all of the waiting, on day 60, I got bored, so I just bought the rest of the steel rods I needed in the shop, as well as some extra for conveyor belts, so I was finally able to make an industrial smelter. But I also know how to make conveyors for the smelter, so I began smelting iron in the furnace. Day 61, I finished smelting, but I realized I needed more conveyors, so I began smelting steel again. But after getting the last conveyor I needed, I bought more totems, and now I had made an automatic steel farm, and it works perfectly fine. Day 62, I figured my next goal was to make an industrial stone cutter, which would make me able to make several buildings in my town as well as sidewalks. So I needed 8 steel rods for the recipe, which would take a lot of waiting. So I wanted to do some stuff in the meantime. When I played the game, the bow didn't exist, but I later found out that it did exist now, so I tried it out, and it's very weak, so I never used it again. Day 63, I fought a bunch of mobs for the rest of the day since I wanted more combat XP, as well as just me wanting something to do while waiting for steel. I also visited the Spirit Island to complete the Blue Spirit quests, which I didn't want to do at first, but now I have 30 spirits, which I didn't spend. Day 64, I gotten enough combat XP that I was able to visit the Wizard Island, which gives me so much combat XP. Though I died because they're very strong, and at the end of the day, I was 1 level away from the Desert Island. Seriously, farming combat XP there is too good. Today is day 65, and I slept before today, and the Patrick Star event started. Also, before I did that, I got a gold island. I did the event easily, and I got the Patrick Star trophy. This will become pretty valuable later on, so I will grind more on alts. I'll probably just get 10 of them. Also, because I had slept, I was able to complete Spirit Island quests. And guess what? I got a green spirit immediately, which I stole from another player. I lie awake a bit at night thinking about the actions I just committed and reflecting upon what I just did that day. After getting the green spirit, I purchased a spirit seed. Day 66, I have finished the rest of the quests, which made me able to purchase a second spirit seed, so I planted them at home. Day 67, I decided to just straight up mine the copper and gold since I did not have enough or could afford a drill. Also, I finished the last quest on the Spirit Island since I didn't finish the Blue Spirit quest for some reason. Day 68, I went shopping and I bought 6 steel rods, making it so that I had a total of 11. This made it so that when I got back to my island, I could make an industrial stone cutter. Day 69, I got all the iron I needed for my industrial stone cutter, so I now had an automatic brick farm. Now I just had to wait to get enough. So I did some stuff on my island while waiting. Day 70, I started placing stone bricks. How it will work is that the park in the middle will have a 2-block wide sidewalk around it as well as the rest of the buildings. I still needed to wait for the bricks, so I decided to visit the Desert Island. The Desert Island basically has a quest system like the Spirit Island. So I decided to begin on 2 of those quests, those being defeat 5 Scorps and collect 40 red sandstone. The Scorps are fairly easy if you know the right strategy, but I didn't, so I died. Day 71, I finished the Scorp quest, and I began on the red sandstone quest, and it took me the entire day, and I didn't even finish the quest. Day 72, I finished the quest I could in the Desert Island, and I got home to my base where I had gotten enough bricks, which I then placed. The town would basically consist of 4 roads going away from the park, and there being buildings with farms. You know what? Just look at the drawing I made in Microsoft Paint. So on this day, I basically began building my roads. Day 73, I began making the first building, which would be made out of bricks. This is the building that will hold my industrial smelter and other farms like coal and stone. I only built the floor today since I needed a ton more bricks. Day 74 consisted of even more building, which also included a lot of waiting for the farms, so I want to build another building in the meantime, which would be an onion farm made out of birch. So I crafted an industrial woodcutter, which wouldn't be automatic because I would be using output chests. Day 75, I bought 9 pine trees, which I would make a part of my wood farm one day. Why? I wasn't planning to use this for building, I just thought I might use the pine later. I also continued to build on the brick house that day. Day 76, I began to cut birch and I was finally able to move my industrial smelter. And then I realized I had very little space, so I had to make every single building in the city larger, which would take a ton of resources and time, just making the build much harder. Day 77, I refinished my brick floor and made it the correct length so I could place the full smelter farm in there. Also, I gotten a ton of birch planks, which made me able to make the floor for the onion farm. Day 78, I built most of the walls on my smelter farm, and it took me some time to decide the window patterns, but I later figured it out. Also, I stopped making birch in the woodcutter, and I decided to dedicate it to pine since I needed a lot of pine wood to build my section of the farm for it, and I began building it that day, which I regret so much since it was a big waste of time. Day 79, I finished my pine farm and I moved the pine trees from my base down to there, which was much more relaxing and made me more space to work with. For the most of that day, I placed blocks and I had tamed for my farms. Day 80, my desert quests had refreshed, so I went to there to complete them. The quest still had 40 red sandstones quests, but also had kill 5 gold scorps, which had me worried. But they turned out to spawn very quickly. I also mined a ton of sandstone that day, but I didn't finish all the quests. Day 81, I finished the quests I were able to do, and I even got a gold scorp claw, which I did not know if it was rare at all. I now had a good amount of sand dollars, which I decided to spend on a cactus seed. Day 82, I almost finished the building of the industrial smelter, and I continued to build on the onion farm building. I also didn't at first know how to place a cactus, but I later figured out I needed to place it on sand. Day 83, I was very confused due to the cactus since it wasn't growing, so I went and bought some water, which I placed right next to it, and it still didn't work. And then I looked up cactus growth time on the internet, and it was 20 hours. Bruh. On this day, I almost finished the brick house, but I was missing 4 blocks. I also got a ton of progress done on the birch house. Day 84, I finally finished the industrial smelter building, and I was pretty happy with the pattern I would repeat for the rest of the buildings. I also surprisingly finished the onion farmhouse. Now I just have to put an onion farm in there, I guess. Day 85, I set a new goal for myself, which was to get a gilded steel pickaxe, which would speed up mining a ton. So I switched out my steel farm for a manual gold farm using an output chest. I also started a bit on my onion farm, and I made something that barely worked and had no industrial washer. Day 86, I mostly just made money by farming and selling, and as well as just me collecting gold from my farm. I also built a bit on my roads. Day 87, I attempted to revamp my farm to no avail. I have no idea what I was doing. I have no idea why I wasn't just getting a washer already. I also forgot to mention I bought pumpkin seeds earlier, but I also bought watermelon seeds today. As well as that, I got my gilded steel pickaxe that day. Day 88, I figured, yeah, if I want this farm to function, I need an industrial washer. For an industrial washer, I needed a propeller, which was a rare drop by fishing, and the only way to get propellers was to have an iron fishing rod, which you needed level 20 in fishing to be able to make, which I didn't have, so I would have to start grinding again. Fishing was very slow, but I later found a good strategy. Day 89, I got fishing level 15, which made me able to buy bait, which would increase my chances for good loot. And all I needed was carrots, which I had a ton of. So throughout the day, I grinded fishing, and with bait, I got better fish, which made me much more money. Day 90, I continued to grind, and I got very little places. I could also explain my strategy for fishing. It was to swim underwater and right under the fishes, which would attract them to the fishing rod instantly. I have no idea if this is more efficient, but it worked out and was much more fun than just standing on the shore. Day 91, I unlocked the recipe for the iron rod, and I mostly just did a lot of random stuff that had nothing to do with fishing for some reason. Day 92, I began fishing with my new rod, and I got an eel with my first catch. Wow, this is really efficient. Get it? Efficient. Wow, I hate myself. Well, I just got a ton of good fish that day, but not a propeller. Day 93, I was still grinding, and I didn't find a propeller. I really hope I can get one before day 100. Day 94, I wanted to look through shops for propellers or washers and found nothing, so I just continued to fish normally that next day. And on day 95, I had finally gotten the propeller, and I went straight home to craft the industrial. I need steel rods. Gosh darn it. Day 96, I was still missing 5 steel rods, so I decided to visit more shops where I found nothing. On day 97, I bought all the steel rods I needed after a lot of looking at other people's shops. And when I got home, I finally crafted an industrial washing station. Day 98, I tried the washing station out, which I had never tried before, and dear lord, is it fast. It seems extremely efficient. And later on, I got an actually pretty good setup with even more totems. Though I still don't have a truly, good setup. I also crafted 140 arrows today for something special I want to do on day 100. Day 99, I made it so that all of my onions did not fall out of their conveyors by making a glass wall. I also mined some gold for the rest of the day because I one day wanted to make a battle hammer. Now, finally, we're here. Day 100. I will now do the final thing I wanted. Fight the Slime King. I had researched him and I was ready for a difficult battle. That's why I got all the arrows. So I went to the slime island and I summoned him. And wow, he was so easy. The bull was seriously overkill, so I beat him and got the useless stuff out of it. So guess what I gosh darn did next? I went to the wizard island and I decided to fight the wizard boss. I had not prepared for this and I had no idea what to expect. I didn't even know what the boss looked like, so I summoned it and it was pathetically easy. And guess what I gosh darn decided to do next? I went to the gosh darn desert island, I went to the boss arena, and I summoned the boss. What was I thinking? Well, this one wasn't that hard either. The boss has so much health, which made the bull useless, so I mostly just used the axe up close on him to defeat him. This fight just takes a lot of patience, since he only uses 2 moves while you're close to him. So I somehow defeated him, and that finally brings this challenge to an end. So I would just love to say thank you so much for watching through this entire video. I've been waiting to do this thing for so long, and I'm glad I was finally able to do it. If this video performs well enough, and I see that actually people want 200 days, I'll do it. So follow my Twitter at ParrotDD, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye! So good to finally be done with that video. It took so long. Okay, now what's next? You've forgotten about me! What have you been doing all this time? Okay, fine, you're next.